Amisha Vora is also ready. Let's connect with Amisha and say good morning and hello to her. Amisha, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Amisha, if I look at US markets, looks like there is no problem in the world.
Good morning.
But the minute I look at Indian markets, we are massively underperforming. We are underperforming not only developed markets, other emerging markets as well. Now, the case was supposed to be different, right? US markets were supposed to go down after the Trump victory, and Indian markets were supposed to go up in this kind of a very low global growth environment.
But as what we know, the equations have changed, which is, because of demonetization, which frankly nobody would have ever factored in their any wildest of imagination, has come in and hit the economic growth at the moment, whatever may be the long-term benefits. But we all know in the medium term, short to medium term, a lot of hopes were pinned on these H2 onwards recovery on the ground as well as in earnings, and very clearly leave aside the recovery, we are seeing degrowth. So, and we really don't know when it is ending, how it is ending. I'm sure it is ending, but we cannot really very well time it. So I think we are now seeing the impact of all that also. Apart from the fact that we are still the consuming industry country, so whether it is oil or metals, the way it goes up, the moment it goes up, it impacts us all throughout on the macro. It's a slight change in balance over there also, which is also impacting the sentiment for India. And I think my reading is that the way Dow has been doing so well, or so the US market and dollar, all the emerging markets are also lagging the developed markets. So there is also a bit of a change in that, but as what you very rightly said, because of some of these reasons, India has been even underperforming some of the emerging markets as the consuming nation.
Right. Amisha, so suffice to say the start of 2017, are you cautious or cautiously optimistic given the way the market has behaved in the last 2 months?
No, rather I would say that, the macro still continues to be overall good. And if we also during this slightly difficult and uncertain earnings outlook time pull through the GST, which also would lead to a little bit of maybe destabilization, then but for next 2 quarters, overall the outlook could be even better. So I would think that my broad view continues that it is more or less a buy at decline market. Rather than sell at high, it's a buy at decline market.
Okay, Amisha, just stay on. We are a minute and 15-20 seconds away from the pre-open rates, but I think Den Networks was a big mover in trade yesterday. Results, Bharat Forge, TVS Motors, and then today we'll also see a new listing, Mandhana Retail. I think it's the Being Human arm, and should be interesting. Actually, Amisha, let me just try my luck with you. Do you look at this business? I think a lot of HNIs, interesting HNIs, have invested in this branded retail. Do you look at Mandhana Retail, the one that will list today?
We haven't looked at it at detail. No.
Fair call. I appreciate that.
Amisha, do you agree with my assessment that if Bharat Forge gets it right, 2017, 2018, they could be really, blockbuster years for that company?
2018 and 19, I would say, for Bharat Forge, yes, they could be good years. While defense will probably play out more in terms of order book, but the recovery in US markets will play in actual numbers, and a slight recovery in oil and gas also helps them because a good part of that comes from that industry also. So I think all in all, yes, they would be favorably pleased.
Right. I also want to mark the currency. the reason it's important to highlight the currency's trend is at a time when the dollar index is at 101 and there's no direct peg within the dollar index to the rupee. It's more pegged, of course, against developed market currencies like the euro and the pound and the yen. Even so, there has been pressure on other EM currencies, in the flight to safety sort of trade where the dollar going higher. And at 67.50, one would read this as fairly resilience, a fair amount of resilience actually coming in for the rupee against the greenback. And I don't know how long will this continue, but all that talk about how the rupee has perhaps a strong bias towards weakness, that for now is not coming through as much. Amisha, would that then, in a way hold the opinion on IT? Because one was expecting that if the rupee continues to weaken, then the prospects for IT's business will look up again. There are multiple headwinds there. Nobody really knows how the visa issue would pan out under the new regime of President-elect Trump. What the policy stand would be on that front. And even for the currency, there's not that much of a shot in the arm from the rupee's fall.
I agree with you from the rupee point of view, but I somehow feel that, while I'm sure Mr. Trump also makes a lot of statements about the outsourcing and offshoring, etc., etc. But as what we understand, the unemployment rate overall is 4.1% or 4.5%, but within IT is much, much lower. So even if one wants and one wishes, I don't think there is huge talent or pool which is idle over there, and we are replacing it with Indians. So maybe visa cost can go up a bit, but I don't think the broad business model can come under any big question mark. And over a period of time, maybe over next 2 quarters, the dust will settle down. But if the other theory, why the developed markets are doing well, across sectors are doing well, financials are doing well, and if they really start doing well, manufacturing, financials and more sectors, then the order pipeline and order outlook will improve rather than what it is at the moment. So I feel that, somewhere closer to here, when the chips are sentimentally little down, and the growth outlook looks a little muted for a couple of quarters, probably one should look at these sector and stocks.
Just for the benefit of...
Amisha, before we let you go, just one quick thought on oil and gas, since that's the big buzzing space. Anything out there that you at Prabhudas Lilladher seem to be liking, either upstream or downstream or OMCs?
Correct. So we are very bullish. I think my analyst is very bullish on Indraprastha Gas. We have been bullish for a while and we continue to believe so. And otherwise, within the oil marketing companies, IOC is our preferred pick.
Amisha, thanks very much for taking out the time to join us this morning with your insights and thoughts on the markets. Really appreciate your views as always.